Hello everyone, it is I, the Obsessive Gamer. Pokemon! Sword and Shield! Ah yes, Pokemon Sword and Shield. How you were hyped as the first console Pokemon game so long as you pretended these didn't exist. Only to be hit by a large dose of Matsuda, a cut down Pokedex that led to videos claiming that the devil was behind the game. Even myself, and played with it cause it did me well until it didn't. So I went to a more wholesome thing. But with how we now have the DLC, and it being a year later after the controversy, the games didn't seem that bad like everyone said, so a list of the 10 good points about this game should be easy, right? So I decided to hit up Twitter asking its intelligent fan oh my god, I can't even finish that line. So going from one evil to another, I asked 4chan, and well, that was a mistake. So fuck it, here's what I personally think are the top 10 best points about Pokemon Sword and Shield. Point number 1, the return of gyms. Yeah, the bar is set that low if we are beginning number 1 like this. But that's what Pokemon Sun and Moon did by removing them. I didn't mind the island challenges so much as it still led to some boss battles, but everything around them was just awful. Tedious long challenges that led to these battles. Not to say this didn't have them too, but they weren't so tedious or lengthy. And more on the scale of what a normal gym task would be prior to getting to the gym leader themselves in prior games. I like knowing and seeing these dedicated places for gym battles within cities too. Seeing it integrated into everyday life of people and entrusted by people to run them full time. But the real reason I especially like the gyms, aside from its return, is how hype they made them. Remember that integration into society that I just mentioned? Of course you do, that wasn't even a minute ago. Seeing a large stadium for every gym where you face off against gym leaders truly topped these off. And to top that off even, every gym leader had a sort of boss Pokemon using a Gigantamax form. Something X and Y I feel should have used with its gym matches and Mega Evolutions, but didn't. This, all in all, gave it more weight, and on a presentation scale, really felt we had moved forward with gyms. Speaking of Gigantamax, number 2, Dynamax and Gigantamax.
Where the fuck is my Mega Evolutions?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat the fact that removing Mega Evolutions still stings, but here looking at Dynamax as a concept on its own is actually a rather good concept. It enables any Pokemon to have the ability to become some sort of boss type Pokemon. You can even be that dude with a Dynamaxed Magikarp. Why? Along with that, provides special and unique moves while in that status, of course. So it feels like they took elements from both Mega Evolution and Z moves to make this form without actually being those, and yet limiting it to 3 turns, so you don't just bring out the Dynamaxed Magikarp and sweep everyone. Number 3, character design. Well, it's not like Pokemon actually ever had bad character design. Most people like the way the ocean looks. Make Ocean 2 and everyone will still like it. However, the series still obviously looks better in certain places. Generation 1 set the standards, Generation 2 continued what ain't broke, don't fix, Generation 3 gave us a child with boobs. Why? And some good gym leader designs I'd say too. Generation 4 was kinda meh except for Dawn and Cynthia. Generation 5 really amped it up in quality of character design for everything with hats everywhere, followed by Gen 5's Part 2, Princess Leia's buns, and a forgetful male design. Generation 6 was pretty good actually, but if it wasn't, it'd be representing fans pretty badly I would say. And Generation 7 was kinda meh, but I almost feel like they didn't know what to do with a Hawaiian setting. And here with Generation 8, we are back with a pretty neat design I would say for pretty much everyone. But the male protagonist, who looks yet again generic as hell, going into the pile with these guys. But overall, had pretty good character design for everyone. Not too out of the ordinary, fitting the British stoic look, while the gym leaders represented their element and hobby very well and still looked good. And of course, how can we forget Hips over here, where during the reveal trailer, I went, how thick is she? Number 4, fucking back to a single piece of land. Remember when I said Sun and Moon lowered the bar? Of course you do, that was just a few minutes ago, unless you were skipping ahead in the video. Are you? Anyways, something I always loved was being able to walk and explore giant pieces of land, seeing a map and seeing that I can go little by little to these spots all over the place as the journey progresses. It's pretty much the main reason why I actually love JRPGs, as this is a staple and held very true for a JRPG like Pokemon 2. However, Sun and Moon of course had to go ahead and tell the series fuck you and split the game into 5 islands. Look, I get it was a Hawaiian setting, I get Hawaii is made of multiple islands, but I would have been fine if they had done it like Generation 3 and just had made the whole island a big map instead with a ton of water, only for IGN to give it a 7.5. Huh, maybe that's why they didn't do it. But alas, this is what I like here, in that we got the big land structure back, being able to start from one end of the map and go bit by bit to get to the very end where you fight in the Pokemon Championship. Yes, the land may have not been up to people's expectations of wanting a big Breath of the Wild kind of land, but it still held fine to me in what Pokemon normally held true, with varied lands, though it's kinda weird that we kinda lacked caves. Like, there were only literally 2 in the game. But with that, we get to number 5, the wild area.
But it's not an open world.
Yes, the whole game isn't this, unfortunately, as many of us wanted a big open world like Breath of the Wild. However, what we got in this wild area was still enjoyable in my opinion. Actually, being able to explore the land of the wild area felt breathtaking. Seeing elevation actually that isn't a simple skip down, which leads you to go around and scream fuck as you have to walk all the way around to get back up. Being able to see varied designs of lands positioned next to each other, and of course seeing numerous different types of Pokemon of various level just all over the place. It really felt like nature for a change. Combine that with how if we are connected online, we even get to see people roaming around too, and even participate in many different kinds of Dynamax and Gigantamax battles. While it was only somewhat okay in size and only limited to a section of the game, it really felt like a taste of what we could one day maybe get as a full game. And that is something I am really hoping for one day too, especially since the DLC is made like a wild area. And so brings us to number 6, the DLC.
It should have been in the fucking
Okay,
game in
that's
the
it.
first place.
You've had your chance. Yes, it's definitely a controversial point to bring up the DLC as a good point of this game, but hear me out before saying I'm with the likes of Scamco or EA here. Normally, we would get a third game and be all like, well, I guess I wasted my money on this vanilla copy over here. But as confirmed by Game Freak, this essentially replaces the idea of a third copy. So instead of spending a full price on a third game, being the whole game again and lighting your original copy on fire, you can spend half price on getting new content and still keeping the value of that copy. Though between you and me, I just feel Game Freak didn't want to make a Pokemon Gun happen. And with that, we got what was actually a continuation of the story on a new land with the addition of new Pokemon even to the roster of Generation 8 here, amongst the many other additions of course. Also, I really like the idea that they made this whole map a wild area, which gave me hope that maybe Game Freak really does intend to make the future Pokemon games entirely that. And also, we got the stick waifu. But anyways, number 7, multiple rivals. Remember when your rival was Dick? Or literally named Dix? Because I'm a child, of course. And remember when he was so friendly that you wanted to puke, and maybe somewhere in between as well? The game decided to give us all 3 this time so we would stop bitching if we didn't like the one we got. Or you know, just go back to making him a dick again, cause we all like that one best anyways. But regardless, it gave us a nice variation of people competing with us instead of the one person it normally is. And therefore it felt like a more lively real competition, as it should have always been. I mean, Pokemon was originally going to even have 3 rivals to begin with, but didn't happen for whatever reason. And best of all, everyone literally makes it in some form to the Pokemon Championship, where you can face off against them in their tournament rather than them failing 99% of the time and only like 2 ever have actually did it. And so leads us to number 8, the Pokemon Championship being a tournament. Now before you raise those pitchforks at me, pitchforks? Good. Cause I also agree that no Elite Four is balls, which I'll plan to cover that in my bad points video. But it actually being a tournament featuring all these people who you have been competing with the whole game was a really nice touch. It is textbook payoff to character development of all of these that you met throughout the game and faced off against. Top that off with how the gym leaders also were allowed to compete too, to bring the whole story's cast together in one place. Now I believe the Elite Four could have easily been still incorporated into this too. I personally think that after you win in the tournament, you should have been able to face off against the Elite Four and then face off against the champion himself. But that's a story for another time. Number 9. Introduction of TRs. TMs were always good. HMs were stupid with how you always had to carry an HM slave. But damn do I love Bidoof for carrying Gen 4 for me like that. Ever since Generation 5, TMs became a permanent item that won't vanish after one use. So Generation 8 introduced TRs, which will disappear after one use. So then why the fuck are TRs considered a good point? Because look at this crazy number of moves that you can learn under TR category. One can really customize their Pokemon to whatever move they can learn. Best of all is that you can always get more TRs by doing Dynamax battles in the wild area too. So it's still a better thing than the old method of getting TMs. Number 10, the Pokemon designs. Cause what's the point if they suck? Yeah, we always get filthy Gen 1ers talking smack about how this Kia exists. Yes, Generation 1 literally had a purple turd as a Pokemon. Realistically, no generation had terrible looking Pokemon considering the same genius Ken Sugimori was working behind all these generations. However, like human comparisons earlier, some are obviously better than others, and this is one of those cases. The starters were kind of forgetful in their base form, but they definitely have a big presence in their final forms. This is literally the opposite effect to Generation 7, where the starters were the ones who were loved, but no one really cared for their evolutions, save for maybe Incineroar, and purely because of Smash rather than its own merits even. Each of these being given definitely unique animated special moves, and then reintroduced with far more badass Mega Evolutions really did give them a presence here in comparison to the last 2 or even 3 generations. The rest of the Pokemon have also a good variety amongst them. A good mix of tougher and cuter looking Pokemon with rather unique designs too. Nothing looks generic and everything feels like it has more thought put into it than normal. Even something as simple as Alcremie here, while being one of a sillier Pokemon, has a rather cute and unique design that makes it stand out and not so easy to forget. In fact, so many Pokemon were presented in trailers on their own even, or in groups as if they were an event. We even got actual evolutions to older Pokemon which hadn't been a thing since Generation 4, like Sirfetch'd, which is truly a beautiful evolution and gives another point as to why Sword is better. We even got split evolutions, which specifically I'm referring to Meowth actually getting one in his Galar form, entering some crazy Digimon stuff with that good shit. And with the DLC, we even have been getting new members to the old Pokemon families, like the Reggies, new Galar forms to the legendary birds, and introducing new and more unique Pokemon into the mix, which one even has a split evolution too. And lastly, let's not forget that Gigantamax designs provide a unique new look to numerous new and existing Pokemon. I mean, we freaking got Longcat as an actual Pokemon now, and the return of Fat Pikachu. But aside from that, everything just looked plain badass in that state. Overall, it felt like a good mix of what many generations of Pokemon would add, but brought together on a leveled playing field. And that's the top 10. I almost gave up at 8. Now I know, some of you might be thinking I'm shilling for Game Freak. Well, I am always open to criticize a game after all. And the fact is, there were some still good points to this game. It's actually really hard to make a bad Pokemon game in my opinion. You have to really be trying, I would say. Now, for those of you who actually want to hear the bad points, A video on the bad points is planned soon, even for those in the sidelines. Right? Right there? Hey, get up. Hey, let me remove this sword out of you. Hey, and he's dead.